Hey, I wanted to pop in just for a couple of minutes and share a little bit of a lesson that was hugely transformational for me. And so I hope that you find value in it too. And it is recognizing when you might be having an emotional flashback. They are also called implicit flashbacks, implicit being that it's inside, it's in your body, it's not necessarily triggered from an external source, even though we think it is in the moment. So my awareness of an implicit flashback came from my favorite book. If you can see that, I don't know, Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. And I think that the words were all backwards on the screen, but that's okay. I'll link to it down below. Complex PTSD by Pete Walker. I refer to this as my trauma Bible, and I highly, highly, highly recommend everybody read this book. I call it my trauma Bible because I found myself in these pages. For the first time in my life, I made sense. I could explain so many behaviors and struggles and challenges that I had had my entire life. Also, it made so many of my abusers make sense, well, more sense. I could finally see their side of things, sort of, see the pain and the domino effect that led them to cause the hurting. And so it really gave me a bird's eye view of what trauma is, and also helped me really reconnect with myself in deep and meaningful ways. So, how to know if you are having a flashback. I'm going to read just a few things that I have highlighted here. And if you can see, it is full of sticky notes, and the inside is just like full of highlighter and ink. And I mean, I have never written in a book so much in my life. One common sign of being flashed back is that we feel small, helpless, and hopeless. Sound familiar? Also, feeling fragile, on edge, delicate and easily crushed, no self-esteem, even if you had self-esteem 5 minutes ago, a ramped up inner critic, very critical and judgmental of other people, extremely polarized, like that all or nothing thinking, the black and white thinking. I mean, probably all of us at some point experience all of those things, right? And so now that doesn't necessarily mean that you're having an emotional flashback, but if you start piling these things together, then that could be exactly what's going on and what you're struggling with. And another thing that I learned somewhere else, actually, that was really helpful for me is to really pay attention to incongruities. That is a little teaching that I learned from Thomas Hubel, Hubl. Thomas Hubel is amazing. You look him up if you're not already familiar with his work. But he said to pay attention to incongruities when things just like don't quite make sense. Like, wait, what? Why did that person do that or say that? That's probably some sort of a trauma response going on. And like you just saw with the emotional flashback, some of those things, people can, have polarized thinking, black and white thinking most of the time. They can be judgmental of others most of the time. But then there are other people who maybe don't generally act that way or feel that way, but then it's almost like a switch flips and there they are. And it's like, whoa, who are you? That you weren't this person 2 minutes ago. And so in both of those cases, it could still be flashback. I am pretty convinced that I have lived much of my life in a flashback state. It was not a short duration and then it's gone and I'm left wondering what happened. I mean, that happens too. But for me, it has also been just ongoing, where there is just trigger after trigger after trigger after trigger. And I am not able to re-regulate my nervous system to find homeostasis before I'm being triggered again and again and again. And, that's just called childhood for me. And so there are many of you out there who have similar experiences. and similar struggles and similar confusions, asking what is wrong with you. And I'm so happy to always tell everyone there's nothing wrong with you. You are actually working as nature intended. Your biology, your neurology is all wired to do those things to keep us safe. So I hope that this has been helpful. I hope it's been illuminating. You now know a little bit more about implicit flashbacks, also called emotional flashbacks. You have some resources to check out, Thomas Hubel, and please go read Complex PTSD by Pete Walker. And I will see you in the next video.